Hey there, it's me, Nate, and today we're going to be going through my TBR for the month of August. And let's see, I think I have 7 books for the month of August. I think that's right, if I can count right. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, starting off, I'm going to be starting this later today. This is Villains Are Destined to Die, Volume 1, by Guan Gyeul. I think that's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered it. It's a Korean name. Also, if my voice sounds weird, I don't know if I'm coming down with a cold or something. I feel like a little throat itch. So apologies for that if my voice sounds weird. Sorry. But anyway, so this is kind of like an isekai novel a little bit. But basically, our main character, she comes from like our world, and one day she's playing this like romance video game, and she gets sucked into the world of the game and takes the form of Penelope, who is like the villainess in this like romance video game story. And usually Penelope is kind of always fated to die in whatever route of the story you go through. But obviously our main character is not trying to die, so she has to try to figure out a way to change Penelope's fate. And as she does so, she discovers more about like the hidden story of this world and what's really going on here, and how like why she was sucked into this world, and how her her life like in our world connects to like Penelope in the game world, and how that's all connected. So there's 5 books in the series, and this is volume 1. I've actually read like a good chunk of the manhwa adaptation of this, but I haven't read the novel. And so I was just curious one day, and I saw they did have the novel, like an English translation of the novel, which was cool. So I decided to go ahead and pick that up and get started with it. So next up, sorry for the throat clearing. Like I said, I don't know what's going on in my throat. Like I was feeling fine earlier, and then it just started messing with me. Next up, we have Pathfinder by Orson Scott Card. This is the first book of his Pathfinder trilogy. It's been described, like I've seen it described like on like Goodreads and stuff as like a YA series. But a lot of people say Ender's Game is YA, so I'm not sure how accurate that is. But basically, from my understanding, is that Pathfinder is about this young boy named Riggs. And I say young boy, I think he's supposed to be like 13 at the beginning of the book. And he lives out in the forest with his father, and Riggs has the ability to see these paths. And basically, whenever like a person or an animal walks by, even like days, weeks, hours later, he can see like a trail of where they've been, like a trail in the air, like a glowing trail. And so for years, him and his dad like live in the forest, like hunting, and his father like teaches him like how to live, and like raising him, and teaching him the some of the things of the world. And they're completely like isolated from society. But one day, Riggs's father dies, and once he passes away, Riggs finds out like a bunch of secrets about his father, and a bunch of things about Riggs himself that his father was keeping from him. And so he kind of like sets off to like learn more about himself and like about the world and what's going on. So yeah, it's so it's kind of like a coming of age, like self-discovery, kind of secret sci-fi fantasy story. So I don't know a whole lot beyond that. I didn't want to like look into the book, but yeah. So Pathfinder by Orson Scott Card, first book number 1. Next up, I'm giving this series a second chance. This is Academ's Fury by Jim Butcher. This is the second book of his Codex Alera series. and this is Jim Butcher's his Roman like epic fantasy story. So I did a review for the first book, Furies of Calderon, two or 3 months ago. I think 2 months ago, and in the review I gave I said it was a bad book, but since then I've kind of softened on it and I bumped it up to like it's okay. So I decided to go ahead and give at least the second book a shot, because a lot of the fans of the series say that the first book is the roughest and then it improves a whole lot from the second book onwards. So I decided to go ahead and at least give this next book a shot. And in this, for those who don't know, the Codex Alera series, Jim Butcher kind of combined like a Roman-inspired fantasy world with like Pokemon. And by that I mean that there are these like kind of elemental spirits called Furies, and the humans of the Illyrian Empire can kind of like form bonds with them, and through their bonds with these Furies, they can use magic, which they call like Fury crafting. Except our main character, the main character of the series, Tavi, he does not have the ability to, well, at least so far, he doesn't have any Furies of his own. So he is like unique in that he can't use any magic. So after the events of Furies of Calderon, the first book, in Academ's Fury, Tavi is now in the capital, and this, the main kind of like academy, and he wants to learn because he doesn't want to have to just live the life of a farm boy. So he wants to go through the academy, graduate, and do something different with his life. And while that's going on, there are these political factions moving against the emperor. There are threats from outside of the empire kind of moving in towards, because they see that the emperor is growing older and weaker, so they want to take advantage of that situation. So there's a lot of different factors going on while Tavi is like kind of like going through like this academia kind of story. Next up, we got more Elric. So I plan to do the third story in here, which is The Sailor on the Seas of Fate, because there is 4 like novellas in this first omnibus of Elric of Melniboné, and last month I read the first story, Elric of Melniboné, and I really liked it, and I have a review for that already here on the channel. The second story, I only read about half of it. I didn't really care for it. So hopefully this third story will pick things back up. So I'm looking forward to that, because for those who don't know, Elric is your kind of a classic sword and sorcery style fantasy, but it's not like Conan, or at least like your like people's typical image of Conan, where it's kind of just like big buff dudes saving beautiful damsels in distress. Elric is a very conflicted hero, and he is like kind of like the archetypal like origin of a lot of like modern like dark heroes or anti-heroes. A lot of them take inspiration from Elric, from his design of like his pale skin with dark armor and his like dark evil sword, or like his conflicted nature of where he might do evil things, but ultimately he strives to be like a good person and to follow his conscience. So yeah, there's a lot of elements of Elric that still hold up today in terms of like fantasy fiction, and it is interesting to see like the origin point for a lot of tropes that are common nowadays, and how Moorcock really kind of like changed the game of fantasy with Elric. So next up we have Season of Storms by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the one of the Witcher prequel books. So as of the end of July, I finished The Lady of the Lake. So I am now done with the main Witcher saga. But after that, years later, Sapkowski did go on to write 2 prequel books. This one, Season of Storms, and another book, Crossroads Ravens. So here in August, I'm going to be reading Season of Storms, and in September, I'm going to be reading Crossroads Ravens. So with Season of Storms, as far as I know, this is like a Geralt story. This is like when he's like already like, he's been a Witcher for some years, but this is like before he meets Dandelion, before he meets, Yennefer and like all of those like central characters. This is more of like a solo Witcher story, as far as I know. I honestly don't really know a whole lot about it beyond that. I didn't, since I was in the middle of the main saga, I didn't, really look into too many details. But as far as I know, that's what this book is about. It's mainly Geralt kind of like more of like on a solo adventure. So that'll be interesting to see. Because I know a lot of people who dislike the Witcher saga, who came off of playing Witcher 3, they kind of just want like more of like a solo Geralt adventure. So I think Sapkowski wrote this book to appeal to fans of that nature. Is what I'm guessing. I'm not sure. But yeah. Next up, I have I Am Number 4 by Pittacus Lore. Now, Pittacus Lore is the author of the whole series, obviously, but Pittacus Lore is like the pen name, is the name for multiple authors. Because I think from book to book, some of the authors, change throughout. But this is a sci-fi, like YA series. I Am Number 4 is about these group of aliens that came to Earth from the planet, I think it's like Lorien, and they look just like humans. They're basically indistinguishable, and they came to Earth because their planet was like basically invaded and destroyed by this race called the Mogadorians. And so I think there were 10 of them that came to Earth to escape from the Mogadorians, and we follow our main character, number 4, who is in hiding. And he goes by the name, I think John Smith. He goes by the name John Smith. And the Lorians, the aliens that came to Earth, they have, when they came to Earth, they had this protection kind of placed on them, where they have to be killed in order by number. And so our main character, John, number 4, he is 4th in line. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 have already been killed by the Mogadorians. And so he is next up. But he doesn't, obviously he doesn't plan to go down like the others. And so this is kind of, the series follows him, trying to escape the Mogadorians, but also try to team up with the other numbers to try to fight back and save themselves. So this is actually a reread for me, because I read this series during high school. So I'm trying to see if I still like it or not, because I think I've read through the series twice, but it's probably been like 10 years or so since then. So I want to see how that goes. Next up, I have one book I'm going to be reading digitally, and I'll have the cover here on screen. And that book is going to be Cloak Deception by Timothy Zahn. Now, from my understanding, this is a sci-fi political thriller. And basically, a nuclear weapon has been stolen, and and the people who have stolen it plan to use it to make sure that they kill one specific person, and they see that all of the other people that will die in the crossfire as as a necessary consequence to make sure that this one person dies. Meanwhile, this company has made the first ever kind of like full clothing, personal cloaking technology, and that has been stolen at the same time. And so, the kind of global law enforcement agencies don't realize that these two events are connected, and they only have 10 days before this nuclear weapon is going to be used. And I don't know anything else beyond that. That's basically, I read the description of the book, it sounded interesting, and that, you know, and I just went from there. So I don't know anything about the characters, I don't know anything else beyond that kind of general kind of description of the book. But I think Timothy Zahn is a solid writer. I really like Thrawn by him, and his other Thrawn books are, kind of more of the same. But I think overall, I think he is a solid writer, and so I wanted to try out some of his non-Star Wars stuff. But yeah, those are all of the books I'm going to be reading for the month of August. So 7 books in total. So I am looking forward to that. And so yeah, in the comments down below, if you could, let me know what you're planning to read during the month of August. And if you could, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, have a good day.